Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Thursday Xfinity Series here on Green White Checkered TV. Forgot to shut off the playoff graphic there, but we'll bring that up for you in just a moment because we've got 90 laps to preview here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for you. 1.52 miles in track length, the new 28-degree banking after the repave a few years ago, and a very, very fast 1.52 mile an hour intermediate track that races more like a plate track. And we've had a lot of fun here in the past ever since we've added this configuration. Well, since iRacing added the configuration, and then we started racing it here at Area 51. You can see that front stretch behind the graphic there is about 75 feet wide at the line. I think in between the line and the wall, I think it's closer to 65 feet, but it is absolutely massive. And plenty of space to race, but you got to get down into turn one where it is just as wide as Daytona International Speedway is at 40 feet wide. So a lot of too wide action, a lot of tire wear and handling that will actually come into factor here tonight as we go around this track for the last time this season. We've got 2 races left in the schedule. And now, mentioning earlier, you saw the playoff graphic already, but we'll bring that back up and show you what we've got going on. So after last week, obviously we saw Dean Wilkinson power to the lead, or actually hold on to the lead at least, and stay in that number 1 position there. And he's going to have Nicholas Wing will actually be chasing him in second place. Rick Sanchez is on injured reserve tonight. No, he's already in the chat. So, Rick, hoping to see you get better soon, and hope to have you back in the car. Looking forward to see you out on track. And I know you are rooting for Dean Wilkinson to grab that championship. So we got another fan for the 55 being cheered on in the stands tonight. So it'll be Dean Wilkinson in the top seed of the points right now through 2 races in the playoffs. Obviously, Nicholas Wing only 9 points behind. That's still plenty of time to chase that lead, or to chase that point lead. Jim Brooks there 10 points back. Eric Laurie 14 off, as well as Ambrose Kniebel. So anything can happen here within the last couple weeks as we get ready to gear up to crown a champion here at Area 51. In our Thursday series. We just wrapped up the Tuesday series, so we've got a couple more weeks here on Thursday nights to crown a champion, and on Sundays as well, but we're looking forward to getting into the action tonight. Sounds like Gael Brooks and my esteemed colleague Matt Wagner are going to be trying to jump into the car tonight to try and help the car counts here tonight and have some good racing on track. So we'll see those guys probably on track here tonight. Looking forward to put on a good show as we will bring up your starting grid here in just a second. So we'll be rolling solo for me tonight. Apologies that you will be stuck with me here, but looking forward to bringing this action to you. And there we go. We got a good view of that current points leader, Dean Wilkinson. And as we bring up the grid, we'll see Matt Wagner. He's going to grab the pole for tonight, picking up on his winning ways here in the Thursday Xfinity Series. I know we had some special broadcast help as we brought them up. Guile, myself, and Matt have cycled through the car this season, trying to have some fun and add some extra perspective from the broadcast booth. So, not doing as much of that in the playoffs. Obviously, these are Matt and Guile are just kind of obviously working in the field just like normal. But we'll try to bring up Matt here maybe in just a second here and get his perspective as we head into this one. But Dean Wilkinson is going to start to the outside of row number 1, like we mentioned. Patrick Groover there is on the inside. He's still in that playoff hunt. Bud Steele in the 6th. He's going to be on the outside of row number 2. Eric Laurie and Kawabi Brooks are going to be on row number 3. Then we got Andrew Schroeder with Nick Wing to the outside in row number 4. Top 10 is going to be rounded out by Jerry Bergeron and Jack Walls. And you see Gael Brooks and Jim Brooks are going to start side by side on the field for tonight. And we got a couple more names in the grid. As we see Ambrose Knievel and Bob Fitzgerald will be side by side on row number 7, and then Brandon Briggs and Seth Groover will finish out the field. So we're gonna bring him up just a quick second here, see if we can grab Matt Wagner and get his thoughts just before we go green here. Matt, congrats on the pole, and what are you looking forward to tonight?
Survival.
All right. I know you got a quick grid here, but what anything else that you're looking forward to?
The track temp is 135 degrees. You're going to see a lot of people taking their time throughout the first couple laps here. I'm just kind of tiptoeing my way here the first couple laps. So I hope everybody be safe out there. Just be careful.
Yep, good luck, buddy. You were in the Bootnaka chat, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'll be working with those guys tonight. All right, good luck. I will move you back down there, and appreciate your fast thoughts just before the race here.
Thank you, man.
Alrighty. And before we go green, we do just want to take a quick moment to mention our friend and racer Gabe Butler. He is we're thinking about him right now at this time, and his wife Jeannie. We know you guys are unable to be here with us, and know you get your own stuff going on. So you guys are in our thoughts and on our minds, and we wish you all the best, and hope to see you again soon, and appreciate you guys greatly. But we are green flag out on the speedway, lap number 1 of 90. You'll see Matt Wagner. He'll actually be in the 12 for tonight. You see the 11 on your screen. So maybe as an admin, we'll have to get him a penalty for that, for having the wrong paint scheme. But nonetheless, we'll have Matt in the 12. And he is taken off to an early lead with the 54 of Patrick Groover as well on the inside of the track. You see those names again in green highlighted. Those are your playoff drivers that are trying to chase down this championship here. And again, that current championship leader is in 3rd place on the outside, trying to chase down the 54 of Patrick Groover. And oh, we got a spin! Bud Steele goes around! And a bunch of cars involved. The 83 of Jack Walls, bunch of damage to the front. The 1 of Jerry Bergeron spins to the infield here. And it looks like everybody's able to get away. It looks like Brandon Briggs gets through unscathed, but heavy engine damage to the 83 of Jack Walls. And that is going to be a very early first caution. Let's see if we can understand where this developed. So further up in the field, we see Bud Steele already spinning by the time we get the camera to him. And you see the contact of the 1 of Jerry Bergeron. Nowhere to go for Jim Brooks. He is involved. Nick Wing trying to make it through, barely avoids contact with the 6. And wow, just completely... Wow, okay, sorry, not completely unscathed, but just barely gets through into the rear, left rear of Jim Brooks. And we see the damage behind for Jerry Bergeron as well as the 6 of Bud Steele. We're going to take it back again to the moment of caution, see if we can make sense of where that started. See if we have to rewind a little bit here. And then get into our slow-mo here. Grab a different view, see if we can see in the outside lane there. Just gets a little loose, unfortunately, and that can happen on a 1.5 mile oval that we said, is going to have some handling come into play. Was not expecting that to be this early on. Quabi Brooks just barely getting through. Definitely nowhere to go for the 83. You see Gael Brooks on the apron there, sliding to the inside. Bob Fitzgerald also starts to slide as well. And a little bit of contact there for the 08 of... actually a decent amount of contact for Bob Fitzgerald there, getting into there at the very end. But we'll hop back live now and see. Looks like we've had a few people come down pit road. So we'll recap it real quick for you. Quabi Brooks is actually going to be the first one to come down pit road of the drivers not involved. Dean Wilkinson comes down as well. Quabi takes fuel only, it looks like. Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Gael Brooks taking fuel and tires. Then Nick Wing spends about 28 seconds repairing some damage. Patrick Groover, 40 seconds doing the same. And then it looks like Ambrose Kniebel and Jerry Bergeron, 4 tire and fuel pit stop for those 2. And I'm assuming that would be a fast repair for the one of Jerry Bergeron, as a couple cars are going to come down pit road again and try to grab some extra fuel. You know it is the Brooks brothers that are playing that fuel mileage strategy early on in this one, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
At Scentsy, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Scentsy's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Scentsy products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Scentsy Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Scentsy business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Scentsy consultant for more info.
And we are back. Green flag in the air. The 11 of Matt Wagner leads us back. As him and Andrew Schroeder stayed out under that first yellow, did not pit. And they are side by side for the lead. So we do see a little bit of a shakeup there. The 83 of Jack Walls goes a lap down, trying to make repairs to his Chevy Camaro. Jim Brooks in the 51 also 1 lap down. About 43 seconds of extended repairs for that 51 Ford Mustang. Bob Fitzgerald also going 1 lap down. And then Bud Steele as well, 1 lap down. But it looks like everybody's still in the race, still out on track. And I think a few fast repairs were taken, but honestly not entirely sure. But it looks like everybody up to speed. I take it back. Brandon Briggs still underpowered here. And he's got a big issue with that motor. He's coming down to pit road. So Brandon Briggs will fall off the pace there and will come in for service. I realized, Rick, we should have planned it out better. Should have had you come up in the booth and hang out with me while you're out. But appreciate you at least chiming in and hanging out with us in the chat. And yeah, I definitely. We'll see. I think 4 tires is going to be very important. We've seen. I mean, obviously, we've seen you execute that very well in the past here at Atlanta, and have a feeling that that is going to be important here yet again. But it'll be exciting to see. From what I can tell, people have only pit for 4 tires or fuel. I don't see any pit stops that are indicative of a 2-tire stop, though obviously anything that's longer than 14 or 15 seconds with damage, it's hard for me to guess what happened there, but it is definitely a lot of fun. Here, 1 second here. Probably just trying to figure out something here behind the scenes. We've got Matt Wagner side by side with the 071 and the 48 to his outside. All right, so apologies there for a little bit of a break, but we are back. We are working on lap number 14. Matt Wagner still has the lead, the 071 of Eric Laurie behind him. Andrew Schroeder still working on that high lane with the 32 of Seth Groover. And unfortunately, we do have a retiree for tonight, but fortunately for us, we were able to pull him up into the booth, and we got Brandon Briggs with us here tonight. Obviously, unfortunately, out of the race, but glad to have you at least in the booth to lend your voice for a little while at least.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me up. Track was a little bit too tough for me to drive tonight, especially with it being a playoff race. So I said, I'm just going to sit back and watch this one.
Yeah, definitely. I know, obviously, for you, unfortunately, missing the first race of the playoffs and out of that hunt, but still, obviously, a great season to be able to get there into the playoffs. You know, still earn the right to have the name highlighted in green there, but. Yeah, I mean, we're hearing that the track surface, I know Matt said it quickly before the broadcast, the track surface is a temperature of over 130 degrees, and especially at the old Atlanta, but even sometimes at the new configuration of Atlanta, that's a pretty hot temperature and leads to a really slick track.
Yeah, as soon as you would get in the gas a little bit, if you got in it too early, you would really, really spin. And I noticed that I think I was on the very first lap. I just got in the gas way too hard, and I wasn't even completely up to speed yet, and it just went completely around. And then when we restarted, I told everybody I'm going to drop to the inside, and I was back there by myself, and still didn't just let off soon enough, and it went around. So I'm like, this is a very slick track. It's not time to be in anybody's way. So it's definitely tough out there for them drivers right now.
Yeah, there you are, definitely making it look easy. We know that it is not an easy task. Obviously, we saw Bud Steele get a little loose there early on lap 2 and cause a little bit of chaos behind him, but it looks like everybody still within the draft here and doing okay. So we've got 4 cars, 1 lap down. Obviously, the 81 is out of the race, but everyone within about 2 seconds of a gap on track here. They are still too wide at the front, and we see the 1 of Jerry Bergeron now joining the 32 of Seth Groover, trying to push Seth out to the lead as the 12 of Matt Wagner continues to lead that inside line. A little bit of side draft there for the 32 and the 12 of Matt Wagner there. Yeah, it's definitely, I know obviously Rick Sanchez not able to join tonight either, and he's chiming in the chat, and he's he's saying it's going to be high track temp is slick. Slickery is his exact word, and then he recommends 4 tires, but yeah, definitely, it seems like this is probably one of the hotter track temperatures I think we've seen here at Atlanta. Is that something that was kind of a surprise tonight to see in the session there, Brandon?
Yeah. I've never been to a race anywhere, even new or old Atlanta, where anywhere in our season, where it was ever just this loose. This was completely new to me, and I mainly run dirt, and it was slick for me. I'm like, I need to get out. And these guys are out here these dudes are really good that's driving these cars. I don't think any of people watch really understand what it's like to race these and stay as straight as it is with the draft. And now you add in the slickness to the track. And you got to, they're in the draft maybe 190, 200. And to be able to keep it straight as long as they have, we haven't had a caution since the first one. This is very, very, very tough. It's not like what you're used to seeing at Talladega or Daytona where you're full throttle the whole way. You're lifting maybe as soon as you get to the corner, and maybe even before you get to the corner. And it's very, very gentle on a slick track like this, because if not, you're coming around immediately, and there is no saving it. Touch the brake or anything, it's going to overcorrect and head straight the opposite direction of where you were going.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually see the speeds still around like the 160, 170 mark on the screen there with Seth. But I mean, still, like, you're running 31, 32 second laps at a track that is 1.5 miles. That is still an incredible average speed, and just the sensation of how tight these corners are compared to Daytona or a Talladega. The sensation of speed is even higher with how tight these corners are. But you see these guys, you see them moving, wiggling all over. Patrick Groover a little wide there into turn 2, potentially some contact with the wall, but we still stay side by side at the front of this one.
I'm watching Seth's in-car right now, and you can really hear the lift of the throttle as he gets in this corner. You can really hear him baby it, and I think that's a real crucial thing going through this whole race is who's going to have the patience to keep babying it, especially when you get into the late part of the race and guys need a position or need to get down for a pit spot. I think that's when it's really going to get interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to make a huge difference there as you ride along board the 32 of Seth Groover here, currently in P1, battling back and forth with Matt Wagner. But you see how steady of a wheel he's got there. It's definitely, as Brandon has mentioned, it is not as easy as it looks. It's not just a video game. Obviously, these cars are driving as realistically as we could possibly get them here in the virtual world, thanks to iRacing. But it's really fun to see these guys and how they manage this race and how they manage this car at this track. So 25 laps in on the scheduled distance of 90, and it sounded like fuel was in the 45 lap mark or so, or maybe just shy of that. Brandon, is that something that you could confirm as well?
I didn't even really, to be honest, get a chance to even make it that far. I did see a lot of guys pit. Oh,
Ooh,
Seth,
little
good
loose.
willing, good
Matt
willing.
got loose too. Wow, I can't believe the 12 saved that there. Oh, we got some wrecking further on back. The 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. Man, that was a really... We're just going to... Okay, yeah, they threw the yellow. We're just going to rewind that back here while we can and see exactly what happened here. But man, that was a very awkward sequence of events. All the way from the front of the pack, you see Matt Wagner here as he gets into turn 1. He gets loose and gets a little bit of help from the 071 trying to save it. It looks like Bud Steele also got loose, and I think a few others there, Brandon.
Yeah, it's almost like the track was wet. You've seen it start at the top, and then I think what kind of happened is maybe somebody seen one get loose, and it's a chain reaction. And if you get loose too quick and get back in that throttle, that's where I was saying that it's so slick right now that you'll spin around immediately.
Yeah, you see it there. The 12's going around. The checkup, the 071 gets into, or the 83 gets in the back of the 071. 48 up into the wall. The 1 into the 071. The 6 sliding. The 08 sliding up top. And we'll see if the 08 makes a little bit of contact there with the 28 of Nick Wing. And a rear bumper cover coming off for the 08. I think that's everybody involved. But that's definitely, man, like you said, Brandon, it was almost like they had a little bit of rain in turn 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, it's the slickness of it, and 4 tires are a must here. I would, even take my time to make sure get a little bit of extra fuel here and make sure we got enough to go for this. What we're on coming on to lap 30 going to be. So maybe one more pit stop. So I would assume everybody's going to stop right back in to top off.
Yeah, we were. I'm hearing reports that we were fairly close on fuel. That everyone could go one stop after the first yellow that came out. But obviously here, there's going to be an opportunity for everybody to go the distances. We're just about to the 1/3 marker, as Brandon has mentioned. Off of pit road first is going to be Jerry Bergeron, then Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, Andrew Schroeder. Quabe Brooks rolls through pit road so that he can come back down a second time and get fuel, as it looks like pretty much everybody pitting here for at least 4 tires, and obviously can't confirm quite if they are repairing damage. It's hard for me to confirm whether they did take 4 tires or not, but it's almost assumed that if you're pitting, you're taking 4 tires here, because obviously we could still go the distance here, and everyone has the ability to make it one more lap on fuel. As you see, lights are out on the pace car here. And we're going to try and squeeze in another quick commercial break for you, and we will be right back. Alrighty, another commercial there for Whiplash Sim Cams. Obviously, the first commercial for Sensi. We appreciate Ryan and Caitlin Decker for bringing them on board. I didn't have a chance to mention it because we came back so quick to the restart, and got another restart here in just a moment. But thanks to all our partners there, Sensi and Whiplash Sim Cams, for being on board with us here at Area 51 and for Green White Checker TV. But it is going to be a restart for the one of Jerry Bergeron in that Harley Davidson Chevrolet Camaro. Up to the gearbox he goes on lap number 30. Sailing it off into turn number 1, he's got the help of Ambrose Knievel in the inside lane, and the 28 of Nick Wing. The high side is going to be the 071 of Eric Laurie with the 12 of Matt Wagner, and everybody mostly single file through on back the rest of the field as we go back to green after our second yellow here.
Yeah, Boom. One thing I wanna watch here going into this race is how many people choose which line. I think the line is really gonna become important here. How these guys are liking how loose their car can be. So I want to see, I seen Seth or Pat, one of the two, get high there. The last one, he was loose up high, started down low
Oh,
even
we got
more.
one in the wall. Sorry to cut you off.
You're fine. I seen that. It looks like maybe the 48, according to the paint scheme when I seen it.
Yep. Andrew Schroeder in the wall, but we stay green.
This is where I was talking. The lines are going to matter. How loose of a car can you handle? If you're not very good at handling a loose car, I think you're going to want the bottom due to the get in the gas later. On the top, you can deal with a little bit more of a loose car and get in the gas a little bit earlier. Oh, the 04. Woo!
Oh, he's going to hit the wall over correct. That should bring out a yellow, and it will.
That's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the race, is when you get loose, if you even think about remotely tapping the brakes, it's going to send you completely the other way. It's so hard to control. I knew exactly what Ambrose was just going through there. I did the same thing at the beginning of the race. That right there is almost uncontrollable once it starts.
Yeah, we'll see if we can rewind it here and get a better shot of that. But yeah, you see that outside lane, which you mentioned, Brandon, does help if you're battling a loose race car. But you see by that point he's getting in the corner and he's holding on to it there, and then it straightens out and then comes back and just a little bit of a correct too much and sends him into the outside wall. And that's such an easy thing to do, especially with the track temps that we have here and how loose these cars really are. So That'll be another quick yellow here. You see all the guys behind him, the 32, 54. Great car control to get onto the apron without spinning out. So the only car involved in that one should be the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel. And we'll jump back live and see how pit stops are ongoing here, as it looks like Jerry Bergeron is actually going to stay out. So Nick Wing is going to lead us down to pit road with Eric Laurie, Matt Wagner, Gael Brooks in your top 5. So Jerry Bergeron staying out. He pit on the last yellow there with 4 tires and fuel, and I think we'll see more of that as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to give the lucky dog to the 51 of Jim Brooks that time for this third caution here.
Yeah, for the viewers at home that really have never maybe drove a sim or know really the fixes behind a race car, the best thing to understand is take a slip and slide outside, put some soap on it, throw a little bit of water on it, and then run down it as quickly as you can, and then try to control and keep your balance. That's almost what it's like driving these race cars right now.
Yeah, I know a lot of times an egg under the throttle has been referenced. You know, you have to drive it like that you can't mash on it, because if you do, you're going to break the egg and you're going to probably spin out. But yeah, definitely I'm surprised to see all the chaos that this one's causing, like that track temperature really playing havoc. And I know Rick chiming in saying that this might have been a good one to miss with how difficult these cars are driving, but we're going to see if we can go a few more laps here. We got more cars back on the lead lap, so Jim Brooks all the way up to 12th, I believe, should be on the lead lap here, as a couple cars are going to continue to duck down pit road. And man, it's got to be way too early to think about making your final stop. So I think everyone is still in a position to have to go one to the end. But we do see Gael Brooks, Kawabe Brooks, Patrick Groover, both Groover brothers, Pat and Seth, and then Dean Wilkinson coming down for some more fuel, presumably. And then Andrew Schroeder looks like he may have taken a fast repair, as we see a pristine 48 Ford, or no, sorry, Toyota. There, the 48 of Andrew Schroeder. So fast repair for him, it looks like, and he'll be back up to 6th place. And then again, 12 cars on the lead lap as we get restacked and ready for this next restart. Jerry Bergeron, the only one not pitting under this caution sequence, so again, he'll be the control car.
Yeah, this is going to be nice, I think, for Gary. Gary's got a big control here. I think if he wants the top, he can really jump this and get out front, or maybe he's in a good spot where he really likes the bottom. He doesn't have to use much throttle. And when you do that, you don't use up as much tire. You notice Gary did not pit again. On that bottom, you might not be using as much right rear tire as the guy on top trying to get back in it, get back ahead. So I kind of like this Gary staying out front, staying out of trouble, and seeing what these used tires, the tires might get better as you go along. Maybe the tires you really start to get a good grip for your car.
Yeah, and track position, very important as always. And for tonight, who knows, maybe could be just ahead of the Calamity where he needs to be, as we again go back up through the gearbox, up to speed here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 1 with the 28 and the 83, the 08 in the inside lane, and a little bit fewer cars in the outside lane to start, but the 12 of Matt Wagner, the 071 of Eric Laurie, and then the 48 of Andrew Schroeder back up in the mix already.
This is going to get really interesting here really quick. We're going to know right now if the tires really make a difference. I would really keep an eye on the rear end of Gary, and then the guys that just pitted here, like Nick Wing, who just came back in. I think it's going to see how much difference the cars are right here, even though it's just a 6 or 7 lap difference.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's 6 laps on track. Obviously, a couple yellow flag laps in between, but definitely going to be a difference. It'll be interesting to see if the 1 starts to slide sooner into the run here before everyone else does. But it's got a challenger though on the inside of Nick Wing in the 28, trying to get to that lead to grab that top spot. We're working on lap number 38 now. Matt Wagner has been a staple up in the top 5, I should say. So is Eric Laurie. Jack Wall's involved in an earlier incident, but he is back up into the battle for the top 5 as you see Gael Brooks coming into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He's got his brother Kawabe there, a couple car lengths back in the inside lane just behind him there. As again, we've got 12 cars on the lead lap. Bob Fitzgerald is 1 lap down, so Bob Fitzgerald and Bud Steele are currently battling here for the lucky dog. You see the 08 in the outside lane, the 6 in the inside lane, about to be side by side, trying to battle for that lucky dog. Ambrose Knievel is working 3 laps down at the moment here, and we actually show him further back on track here, so he is off of the pace of the draft, so he is going to likely go another lap down here as the field catches back up to him, but he's entering turn 3, and our leaders now entering turn number 1 a few seconds later, so maybe about half a track, or just under half a track difference there for the 04 of Ambrose. As the 28 still working the inside lane. He's got the help again, still Matt Wagner with Eric Laurie, as they're going to go 3 wide into turn 3. Big move for Seth Groover there.
Seth is not afraid. Everybody's hanging out, and Seth says, I'm going to the front. I love it. The one I've really been keeping my eye on is our championship leader, the 55. He is just riding. He knows, hey, I got to get to the finish. I'm the leader of the points. I have to make it to the finish. I like what he's doing, rolling around. That is my strategy when I race. I love to hang out in the back and watch and see what everybody's doing and be there for a chance at the end. And being the championship leader, he is, in my eyes, in the best spot right now. He's looking long-term, and I think he's going to stay out of trouble back here. I really like this decision.
Yeah, definitely conservative for him, and allows, he's got enough of a point lead now that he can kind of play with that. Obviously, he's got 9 points over Nicholas Wing, who's up in the battle for the win here. So points-wise, if it were to end, they would be nearly dead even going into the final race of the season. But obviously, the 55 knows that it is not time to be pressing that issue, to be getting up to the front and trying to make something happen. But Nick Wing obviously trying to capitalize as much as he can from week 1 to week 2 in the playoffs. He actually gained 8 spots, which is huge for obviously a 12-car playoff field. But Nicholas Wing has absolutely come into play here in the last couple races, and is in a good position here tonight, trying to battle here for the lead. Seth Groover is a little bit further back in points, currently shown 11th, so probably getting close to mathematically being out of contention for the playoffs, but nonetheless still a playoff driver. Ooh, he's going to make contact with the 28 down the front stretch, and they're going to wreck. And no yellow, still green. No yellow. Oh, the 54 comes back on the track. There's your yellow flag.
Wow, so much happened so quick there.
We're just going to rewind that. We're not even going to bother trying to find a camera angle. We're just going to click rewind and see. Maybe we went a little too far, so we'll play it for a second, and then we'll rewind. So you see the Groover brothers working in the high side. Seth leading Pat off of turn number 4, and you see the 28 shows the nose above the 1 just a little bit. Get a little cool air on that Toyota Supra. And then the 32 expects him to go down, and the 28 holds his line there, and you see him go for a bit of a ride in the infield. You see the 32 and the 54 make contact. The 28 goes for a spin and locks it down in the infield grass. But we're going to watch the 54 of Patrick Groover, as he has plenty more speed coming through. And he gets into the grass. He gets into the inside wall and has nowhere to go but back onto the racing surface, and then a big hit for the 08 right in front of the 6 of Bud Steele into the catch fence. Man, that is obviously, in the sim world, that is still an insane wreck that we see, as Nick Wing obviously came to a stop just down on the apron. But man, that was a hard impact with that inside wall. You see a ton of damage to that Monster Energy car. Wow, that was a crazy series of events there.
Yeah, I was watching Nick coming into the tri-oval, and I think what happened is Nick gave Gary a little bit of a bump, And when it did, it kind of, I think you don't want to stay on them like you normally would at a super speedway like this. You kind of got to bump them and get out a little bit. And I think Nick maybe gave him a little bump, and Gary got a little loose coming, or Gary went down a little bit and he went up just a tad, and it's just a chain reaction. And with these cars being as loose and slick as they are, once it's going, it's hang on for the ride. And like you said, with the big hit, it is a sim, but with these wheels that we race with, they have force feedback. Force feedback is hold your wheel tight. And so when it jerks a certain way to the left or to the right, it snaps just like a real race wheel would. And it can hurt. I had my force feedback up high one night, and when I wrecked, it snapped my wrist, and I felt it for about the next 2 days. So it is a sim. It is um, a online racing, but the physics that go into it, that we buy, the wheels, the pedals, they all have the real feel of a real race car.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. That is a great point. Some of these guys are using direct drive wheels. There's all sorts of styles, but direct drive being probably one of the highest for the force feedback. And if you're holding onto that wheel when you actually make the impact with the wall, it is fairly realistic, the force feedback that goes back through the wheel. It can actually, I mean, I know people that have held onto those wheels in an accident situation and have broken fingers or thumbs. So there's still a lot of force. Obviously, it's not a physical car, but there are still a lot of physical implements or physical attributes to racing in the sim that we have here. So we see the one's going to stay out, as well as the 071 and the 32 Kawabe Brooks. Sorry, excuse me. The 071 and the 32 only coming down once. Everybody else in the field coming down to get additional service, and it looks like a little bit of extra fuel for everybody there on the second time around. So it looks like Patrick Groover and Bob Fitzgerald are stuck on pit road. They've been there for a few minutes. I think they are potentially taking a tow, but they may have enough damage and have run out of fast repairs for the night. So if that is the case, they will likely be retiring. And then it looks like Jim Brooks has also had to retire from the incidents. But we are about ready to go back to green flag. You see the first three cars are lined up like normal, and then everybody else pitting twice behind them. So single file from fourth on back, as we are back up to speed. Two Camaros on the front row and single file throughout the rest of the pack.
A lot of clean race cars. I'm still seeing a lot of clean race cars. Either the damage is less enough where you don't have to use the fast repair, or they're using them quickly. So it's going to change the race as farther as we go on. When what decision are they going to make? If they don't have a fast repair, they're going to be, I think, more conservative here.
We saw the 54 of Dean Wilkinson employing that conservative strategy, and that has grabbed him another spot on track, as Patrick Groover is going to fall behind him. And it does look like Bob Fitzgerald has been able to make it back out on track after repairing some extensive damage in that Toyota Supra. So we'll wait and see if Patrick Groover will be able to rejoin, or if he will be stuck on pit road there. But we are back to green flag action. It is the one of Jerry Bergeron with the 071 of Eric Laurie, Kawabe Brooks, Guy L. Brooks, and Andrew Schroeder in your top five. Bud Steele, the 6 car, in the 6th position. Matt Wagner has fallen back to now 6 as he passes the 6 of Bud Steele. Nick Wing working in the 8th position further on back. And then there's Seth Groover, Jack Walls, and Dean Wilkinson to round out your lead lap drivers. Ambrose Kniebel is now only 2 laps down, getting the lucky dog that last caution. And then Bob Fitzgerald is 4 down and will likely be 5 down by the time the field catches back up to him. Working on lap number 50, finally past the halfway point, and a lot of chaos so far in this one, Brandon.
Yeah, it's definitely been exciting. I know I've made a few comments in the chat that I like the exciting races. Maybe not this type of way of exciting, but I'm a big fan of 2-3 wide racing. I am not a fan of the single wide, and this is exciting. This, to me, is more exciting to watch than race. But we'll get it fixed. We got some of the best guys. You know, this track won't be like this next time. We race here. The guys that set these races up are really good at it, and they don't get enough credit for it. They spend hours doing this. So I think this one will be exciting, but I think we'll be back to 2 or 3 wide racing next time we come here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a curveball with that track temperature causing a lot of chaos here. Definitely a lot more chaos than we've really ever seen at this track, especially early on through the first 52 laps, if those are any indication. But who knows, could settle into a long green flag run here. I think that's what we're going to try to do as the one continues to lead us around the speedway, working on lap number 53. And thanks to our infield care center reporter, Rick Sanchez, it sounds like all have been checked and released from the infield care center. So we appreciate that, Rick, and glad to hear that everybody is doing okay after those hard virtual race car hits.
And speaking of being okay, I'd like to give a shout out to Rick. Hope you're feeling better, buddy, and also to the Butler family. Hope you guys are doing well in these times, and just know everybody that races and the broadcast, of course, and everybody definitely praying for everybody and hoping everybody feels better soon.
Yeah, definitely hoping to have you back in the field here soon, Rick. And apologies that your back is giving you trouble there. Definitely, sometimes a tough thing being first or trying to be first in points and trying to carry the league on your back, I guess. But anyway, yeah, definitely bummer to not have you in the seat as we see potentially some connection issues for Eric Laurie here. Not seeing him reappearing on track, so that could mean that he may have disconnected due to an internet issue. But we'll have to see if he comes back out on track. But right now he's currently being scored in 11th, so the last car on the lead lap. And I think he will drop here because I do not see him rejoining the session. But still got the 1, the 53, the 71 of Guile Brooks, the 48 and the 11 in the top 5. And this is definitely an interesting play for the Brooks brothers. Obviously their dad Jim is retired, but they are still battling on. And not very common to see these guys trying to battle up at the front. Definitely more of the fuel strategy, fuel save, kind of MO for both of these guys, but they are well in the thick of the battle there and in a good position so far as we reach almost the final third stage of this one. Working on lap number 57 right now. And yeah, I agree, Rick. It's cool to see them Brooks brothers battling it out up there, trying to see if they have anything for that number 1 Camaro at the front.
Yeah, I'm on board right now with the number 1 right here, and it seems like he's starting to get a good hang on what to do here. It looks like we're starting to get it like a nice diamond, as you like to call it. You know, start high, drive it down low, and really let the car, as you slow down, turn itself. You don't have to use as much wheel that way, and then as it's starting to single file, he doesn't have to get in the gas as hard. Everybody's found their pace, and I think they're starting to catch on, but Gary's starting to hold a nice smooth wheel, and I like how he's diamonding the track here.
Yeah, definitely getting that nice shallow exit, kind of more of a straighter exit off, and doesn't seem like he's sliding the tires as bad. You saw obviously the 48 there slide a little bit to the outside wall off of turn number 4, but with that line that the 1 is using, you can kind of see him driving down. You kind of see the 53 of Kawabi there just behind him trying to imitate that as much as they can, but you see the 1 coming off fairly low off the corner and keeping that as straight as possible. And like you said, Brandon, that's could potentially be helping him save a little bit of tire, but also helps get back to the gas a lot sooner.
Yeah, that makes a big difference in handling when it's starting to grip. You're not starting to slide as much. You gain a little bit more confidence. You start to trust your car more. You start to push it a little more as it's starting to heat up now. Guys are tired of running single file. They're ready to make a move, and I love watching the 32. The Groover brothers are so exciting. I like to follow behind them. So I like Seth getting back up here and trying to spice some things up here.
Yeah, always trying to run the high side. You saw him with a really great move into 3 there to make it 3 wide earlier in the race. And Karen chiming in, we haven't heard anything from Patrick. So yes, he's still it looks like he has finally officially retired. Spent about 8.5 minutes on pit road there, but he is now officially off, and looks like done for the night, unfortunately for him. So 14th place will be the position for Patrick Groover as his brother continues to try and battle throughout the field. He's fallen back a little bit here, back to 8th, running that high side in that McDonald's number 32 Toyota Supra. But we've got a new leader now, the 48 of Andrew Schroeder. He's going to jump to the lead here, take that away from the 1. The 53, the 83, and the 71 still in your top 5, as now Seth Groover's still working on the high line, trying to get back into the top 5, now pushing the 83 of Jack Walls. And the one's going to jump down to the bottom here, trying to take that lead right on back.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see that confidence that people are having in their race cars. The run, it's been almost 15 laps now. I think we're going since we pitted last. It looks like these older tires might kind of be the way to go. It looks like the longer they're going, they're getting more confident. As we had earlier in the race, that not a big green flag, but a longer green flag than I think we're having now. People are getting that confidence in their cars. We're going three wide.
Maybe too much confidence. Yeah, I think it was like a 25, 26 lap run, and I was just about to mention that was about 20, just under 20 laps there, as 3 wide does not go well. Unfortunately, we're going to take that back, rewind that again, and see if we can see where that happened. Obviously, you see the 48 and the 83 just trying to squeeze through there, and unfortunately that turns the 1, turns the 48 in front of the field, and looks like the 32 fairly unscathed there. The 12 of Matt Wagner just barely misses the 1, but the 08 gets into the back. The 12 of Matt Wagner slides up, and he's going to tag the 48, make a little bit of contact there, and then it looks like Dean Wilkinson just jamming on the brakes to avoid any contact. And man, he's been playing that conservative role towards the back of the pack, and it seems like it's paying off for him so far.
Yeah, I was on board with him. Soon as that started, I went and found him. And that happened, and probably within less than 100 feet, Dean went from 170 down to 70. He gave himself a good enough distance, and he got down. He didn't slam on him, so with it being slick, he didn't spin it. He had a nice, good, firm pressure on the brake and got slowed down and missed everything. Still got a very, very clean race car, playing the long game, and I think it's going to work out for him here.
All right, so at the front of the field, it looks like Kawabe Brooks is going to get off of pit road first. Then it is going to be his brother, Gael, then Nick Wing, then Dean Wilkinson, and Bud Steele, the top 5. And during our 5th caution, we're going to get another commercial break in, and we're going to pull up our commercial from Sensi once again.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
All right, and we always want to mention with our Cincy commercial, you saw the QR code. You can go back there and pause it and then scan that, and that will help out Caitlin Decker. Obviously, she's associated with Cincy there, and she's the one who brought them on board. So we appreciate Caitlin Decker, and obviously Ryan Decker, when he's able to run, he's got the number 48, and he's got a Cincy scheme for on his race car. So we appreciate their support. We're bringing Cincy on board, obviously your fragrance destination, and make sure any purchases are made through that QR code so that we can help Caitlin out for all the help that she's given us here at Area 51 and Green White Checker TV. You see the Green White Checker TV colors on the 71 of Gael Brooks as he's going to start side by side with his brother Koabi. Koabi, the control car on the restart. We are finally counting down 24 laps to go, and the number will get smaller as we go on for the rest of the night. Green flag after the 5th caution of the night. And Brandon, I know you said it was a bit of a surprise, but I'm assuming you were not expecting to see this much calamity here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Definitely not when I clicked on the session tonight. This was not definitely what I expected. What I'm not seeing though is Gary back on the track. I'm not seeing the one car. Hopefully he can get back out here.
Yeah, I'm showing that as well. I'm actually showing. I can't see him in the session, which may mean that he's actually left the session already. But we'll have to confirm that. You see the 48 of Andrew Schroeder on pit road, as well as Jack Walls, and believe that will mean that they are done for the night. Bob Fitzgerald is out, but Nick Wing is still in this lead pack. He's actually taken over the lead from the Brooks brothers. So Gael pushes the 28. 22 laps to go. The 53 of Kawabe working the inside line. And you see the 53 still kind of running that line that the one of Gary Bergeron was trying to run earlier, where you're entering high and coming off low, and now he chooses the bottom, trying to get to the inside of his brother there. We see Bud Steele working in the 4th position. He started there, and then we saw him lose control of the car early on, when I think a lot of these drivers said, oh no, this is going to be a very difficult race tonight. We saw that 6 of Bud Steele on lap 2 get loose and spin out and have some contact, but he has kept it fairly clean since then and been able to work his way back up into that top 5. Now you see Matt Wagner doing the same. He was controlling a lot of the early portion of this race, and he finds himself with 21 laps to go back up into the mix. So that is 7 cars on the lead lap, 8 cars in total on the racetrack, and Ambrose Kniebel is 1 lap down, so he keeps getting those lucky dogs back. I think at one point he was 4 laps down. Now he's only 1 lap down, and is trying to get all the way back to the lead lap here. But with the dwindling number of cars on track, I would assume at some point, Brandon, that the chaos factor is going to start to fizzle out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit here. I see Eric is back out, back up there in that front pack running with them guys. I think we're gonna see some guys start to understand we're good to the end. I believe. Let's make it there. We know we're gonna have a shot, no matter where we're at running with the little bit of cars we have. I got a shot from anywhere I'm at, just because of that factor. When you go 1 to 2 to go, you know guys are going to start to push it. And when they start to push it, that's when mistakes start to happen. The car is going to come around, or something that they're not thinking of at a super speedway race may just come into factor here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very chaotic race so far, but I believe everyone's got enough fuel to go the distance. So that last caution coming out around lap 63, and everyone, actually 62, and everyone pitting on 64, that came down a second time. So that's should be able to put us within the window to the end. Only about 26 laps there from 64 to 90. So well within what should be our fuel window here to go the distance. So I think these drivers are aware of that. Obviously, there's still 2 by 2, 6 rows deep, and you see the 071 of Eric Laurie, as you mentioned, Brandon, getting back out on track. He is 11 laps down, but have you noticed he is able to get all the way up to 9th, has passed a couple cars there just from the attrition from some of the other drivers. So if you can stay on the track or get back out on the track, obviously for Eric trying to still salvage a solid night for his championship points and implications, as is the 28 of Nick Wing. So we mentioned there, a little bit of a contact with the wall with a 12 there entering one, but we still stay going forward, staying green. 28 came in tonight 9 points down behind Dean Wilkinson. As it sits, he's going to gain most of that back if the 55 stays in that 6th position and Nick Wing grabs that win tonight with 16 laps to go. His biggest contention in the top 5 are all drivers who are not in the playoffs. So Nick Wing has got a lot more to battle for than everybody else here in the top 5. Dean Wilkinson looking to just capitalize on a solid night. We've talked to him a lot in the recent past about what it takes to try and battle for this championship, and time and time again he said that you just need to be there at the end, and that is the most important thing. And we see him obviously, like you mentioned, Brandon, a little bit more of a conservative strategy. You see him just off the pace of this top 6 here, or the group of 6 here, and trying to just outlast everyone else and be there at the end.
Yeah, definitely. This was big for Eric to get back out here, especially with as many guys that is retiring. He was 5th in points coming into the night. He's already gained 3 spots just since he's came back. So I think he's at the highest point, unless somebody gets in a wreck and doesn't have a fast repair. I think this is the highest he can get, minus a caution or a wreck. So this is going to help him big time. Some guys that was in front of him, he is going to move actually in front of, with Rick not racing tonight, and then Jim getting knocked out of the race early. Those were 2 guys in front of him, and he was only, I think, 15 or so points back from Dean. So it may not be big tonight, as big as it looks tonight in points, but I think going into that last race, anything can happen, and to get as many points as you can, be in 3rd, and at least give yourself a chance here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said, Nick Wing coming in 9 behind. He's making the moves right now to try and be in a good spot to battle with the 55 for that final race. Obviously, Rick joining us in the crowd, and appreciate him hanging out with us tonight, but he'll fall a few places for sure. Jim, obviously being 15th tonight, is not going to be able to earn enough points to hang into that battle, or hang on to that battle, so he's going to drop a few points. And then Eric Laurie as well, trying to minimize the damage there back in 9th. At this point, cannot improve any further. Even with Ambrose 1 lap down, would be, I think, the only one that he could pass until we complete this next lap. So it won't be any better than 9th for the 071 of Eric Laurie tonight, which won't help him move any forward. And then obviously the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel tied. They're both 14 points back off the lead, and finishing in 8th and 9th. Now, they're not going to lose a lot to our leader, but they're going to lose a few more points, and they'll probably be in the 15, 16 point behind range as it sits right now. Obviously things can change, but that's going to be a big point deficit heading into that final race. Now, we did see Gabe Butler make up about 10 points on Rick Sanchez in the final race of the season, with all the bonus points that were allotted in last season's format. So anything can happen, and a 10-point deficit still is not enough. I apologize, Rick, if you're listening and we're making you relive that, but it is just to show that anything absolutely can happen. And like the 55 of Dean Wilkinson has said, pretty much all playoffs long, you got to be there at the end, and you got to be in position. And he's moving forward, and so is Seth Groover. They're getting to the tail end of this pack as we see a little bit of a moment there. The 28, I think, in the wall for just a second. Either the 28 or the 71, not sure, but they're still rolling just fine. 9 laps to go. You've seen, as we've been talking, the 12 of Matt Wagner creeping back into the picture here. He is about to try and retake the lead, and will not get that lap lead. That will be Nick Wing that time by that close to the line, but that is 8 laps to go, so about 4 minutes till we decide our winner here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Matt Wagner trying to go for his 2nd win of the season. Obviously won in the broadcast car earlier on. His broadcast teammate, our broadcast teammate, Gael Brooks, in the outside lane in the 71, And I'm obviously rooting for both of them, but also rooting to see Nick Wing try to bring this home, as it's going to be 7 laps at the stripe. He's going to have a good shot to try and minimize that playoff lead that the 55 of Dean Wilkinson has, and he's been battling hard at the front of this pack most of the night, but definitely come on strong here in the later stages with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, boom. Question for you here. If you're sitting in Gael or Matt's spot and your broadcast partner's in front of you coming off the 4, and you know the kind of cars you got,
Yeah.
do you give your broadcast partner a bump for the win? You move him out of the way.
Oh man, I would move Matt or Gael in a heartbeat for a win. So yes, absolutely. I love those guys to death. I would absolutely move Matt. I would absolutely move Gael, and I think they both would understand.
It's so easy to say, hey, car, it's slick out here. The car got a little loose. So I was wondering, as a broadcast competition, when you see these two running together, it's kind of a little bit of bragging rights, I would feel like.
Oh, absolutely. And then, obviously, I mean, they've both had really great performances so far. Obviously, Gael had, I think it was a top 3, top 2, top 3 for sure. We got to actually naturally interview him in the top 3 positions at the end of the race. And then obviously Matt Wagner with the win earlier this season, and was very humbled, very emotional after that win. But it's exciting to see those guys get up there. Obviously, I did not quite do my justice in the broadcast car this season, but it's a lot of fun, and I've had chances to race Gael in other leagues, and I tell you, I race him harder than probably anybody else, but that's because I am, he is such a good friend to all of us here, really, and it is just so much more fun. Sometimes it is more fun to beat your friends and beat your teammates than it is to beat, obviously not a stranger in league racing, but to beat someone you're not as close with. But Nick Wing is going to try and do just that. He's still holding on. He's got the push and the outside and the momentum. We're going to be 3 laps to go at the stripe. It's going to be Gael Brooks with the push, and 28 continuing to hold on to that lead, trying to grab some points and maybe even leapfrog Dean Wilkinson in the championship lead. 3 laps to go. Does Gael make a move? Ooh, they lose a little bit of ground on the outside lane. Gael Brooks in the wall. And the 32 is going to get on by. The 71 is going to slide on back. The 28, the outside lane fizzles out. The 28 now side by side with the 32. Kawabe Brooks is going to try to help Nick Wing out here as Matt Wagner is the control car in the inside lane. The 32 is going to jump up to help now the 28 in the outside lane as the 12 leads that lap, that time by 2 laps to go here, Brandon.
Yeah, throw a blanket under him. Here we go. The championship point leaders up there. It's hold nothing back now. This is where you go. You start to not lift as much. I think we're going to see a little bit higher speeds in the corner. As we see here, Nick 179 entering the corner. I think that's pretty high for what we see
Gets
on
a little
day.
loose in front of the field, and they're going to
The
wreck.
55 gets below it
Yellow
again. He
flag.
was right space, right time. That's what I was saying. Coming to this end, it's no more lift. There's no more, hey, let's slow down a little bit. Hey, they're going for it now. This is still championship racing right here.
Yeah, you saw the moves on the backstretch. The 55 moves from the high side to the low side, and he makes it through the chaos there. We're going to take it back and see if we can see, but obviously the 28, some real hard racing there coming to the white flag. And they're still going to have opportunities to try and battle this out. But you see at this point in the replay there, the 28 already sideways. Kawabe Brooks gets into the wall just a little bit there, and we'll take it through. But yeah, man, that was an exciting entry into 3, and we'll see if we can grab the TV2, maybe TV3 shot here and make more sense of, obviously, the 28 just getting loose there through the middle of the corner. And then you saw the 55 already down to the inside lane. They make contact with a 32. The 32 goes up into the wall. Kawabe Brooks is going to get a little piece of that. The 71 of Gael Brooks locks it up just a little bit and gets into the back of the 32. And then obviously Nick Wing with a little bit of contact. That car doesn't look too bad, but I don't know if he's got a fast repair to try and mitigate all of that damage. So we'll jump back live and see where we're at as Nick Wing is still on pit road. Looks like... Okay, yeah, so it looks like he took a fast repair there, only about time for a 4 tires and fuel pit stop. So Matt Wagner is actually going to stay out here on old tires. And when he pit last on lap 65, he only grabbed fuel, but would assume lap 64 under caution he would have grabbed 4 tires. But he's going to take the track position. Dean Wilkinson pits, and he is going to be the first car on fresh tires. So Matt started this race on the pole. Dean started on the outside pole. Bud Steele started in 4th, and he remains 4th, as Gael Brooks will be 3rd, it looks like, on this restart. And then we'll see Nick Wing actually potentially a penalty for Bud Steele, as he's actually falling back here. So it'll be, looks like Matt Wagner, then Dean Wilkinson, Gael Brooks, then Nick Wing, then Kawabe, and then Bud. And then Ambrose Kniebel is pitting again here. He has actually, Ambrose Kniebel has made it all the way back to the lead lap after all of those cautions and all of that patience. Ambrose Kniebel is on the lead lap and has a shot to hang into this championship battle. He came into tonight 14 points behind Dean Wilkinson, but if Dean Wilkinson wins this race, it will not matter nearly as much going into the final race of the playoffs. We're going to rack them and stack them 2 wide for 2 rows deep, and then single file from there on out. Matt Wagner, Dean Wilkinson, Nick Wing, Gael Brooks, Kawabe Brooks, Bud Steele, and Ambrose Kniebel are going to decide who is going to go into the final race of the season with the best chance to win this championship, Brandon.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Before we get back to green, I went back and I got in the in-car cam for Nick Wing. He was in the corner. There was no tire sounds, no insight that car was about to come around. It just snapped on him. He did not know until the last second. But going back green here, keep an eye on that 55 and the 28. This is a big race here. I know we got Matt and Gael on the bottom, but these 2 guys on the high side are racing for big stakes here. Keep an eye on them.
And here we go. Matt Wagner, the control car. Dean Wilkinson in the outside lane. Dean Wilkinson gets a great run, and he's got the number 28 of Nick Wing behind him. It's going to be 2 laps to go. It's going to be a green-white checkered here on green-white checkered TV, as the green-white checkered TV themed car. Gael Brooks has jumped back up to the outside lane. He's going to try and push Nick Wing to the outside. It's the 55 with the 12 working together in the inside lane. Big push from the 71 to the back of the 28 down the back straightaway as we come off of turn number 4 and try to make it back to the white flag, and then we will race back to the line to see who is going to win this one here tonight. The chaos at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Will it be the 28 in the outside lane? He is trying to gain some points on the championship leader, the 55 of Dean Wilkinson, who gets loose into turn number 1. Nick Wing is back in the catbird seat, and he is going to take the run from the 71 down the back straightaway. The 55 spins out into turn number 1 from the lead. The 28 free and clear. He's got to run to the outside. Gael Brooks is going to try to make it to the outside. Kawabe Brooks sticks to the inside. Does Gael have enough? No, it is going to be the 28 of Nick Wing. And it looked like from the final yellow, Nick Wing was going to lose momentum in the championship standings, and he was going to be passed by Dean Wilkinson, who looked like he was going to go on to win this race until the 55 got loose into turn number 1, and Nick Wing back on top as it was coming to what was the final yellow of the race, Brandon. That is an crazy double flip of that script. Both brothers
crazy. As crazy as this race was, and as slick as it was, and as many times as Nick got loose, I think that helped him here at the end. He knew as how far he could push it, how much throttle he could give, compared to Dean, where Dean was in the back playing it smart. He didn't really have to push his car. These last couple laps, he had to push his car, get maybe a little uncomfortable, and I think that's what won Nick the race, was being comfortable on that high side and controlling it, and knowing what it was going to happen up there and where he made his mistake last time and how he corrected it. That is a championship contender right there, making mistakes and bouncing back.
Absolutely, yeah, that was incredible to see there. We'll pull up those race results and we'll go through those real quick before we get to our interviews. But we saw, I mean, like I said, it was almost a complete double flip of the script. We saw Nick Wing get loose, bringing out the final caution of the night, triggering the green-white checkered restart. Him and Guile Brooks are going to finish 1-2. Kawabe is going to finish in third. And Dean Wilkinson gets loose into turn number 1. Thankfully for him, only 7 cars on the lead lap. He will fall to 7th, but we're going to have to check the point standings. It is going to be a very close battle with a lot of momentum for Nick Wing heading into that final race. And unfortunately for Dean Wilkinson, a little bit of a slip on the bottom there, and he is going to give up what was a fairly padded championship lead and head into what will be exciting for us at the very least, a very close race between him and Nick for the final race and the championship here at Area 51. So Nick Wing, a big win at the end of the season here. Guile Brooks Kawabe, again mentioned in the top 3. Bud Steele has a very great recovery, started 4th and finished there, but brought out what was the first yellow and a little bit of a caution there, spinning in front of the field. And when we obviously, like Brandon said, we found out for the first time that this track is going to be pretty slick. Matt Wagner there, obviously not where he wanted to be with where he was in contention at certain points in the race, but I mean still a very respectable top 5 for him, down 4 spots from that pole position in a really great, smart race. Ambrose Kniebel, probably the biggest comeback of the night. We saw him go 4 laps down and earn 4 lucky dogs in a row to get back to the lead lap and finish in 6th place. And then Dean Wilkinson slips up on the entry to turn number 1 on the final lap, and he loses 6 spots to Nick Wing in the as they finish in the results, and we'll see and double check how many points that is when the points are updated here momentarily. But Seth Groover there, we saw him finish 6 laps down, involved in that final incident there that brought out that last yellow. Unfortunately, unable to continue with the damage that he had, and I mean a slew of issues for a lot of chaos that we saw there. But obviously Eric Laurie getting back on track to at least finish 11 laps down and pass a few cars along the way. Obviously, Gary Bergeron had a very great night at the front of this field, and unfortunately caught up into the same incident that took Jack Walls and Andrew Schroeder out. And then we saw Bob Fitzgerald in the 08 involved in a few issues. Patrick Groover taken out early, Jim Brooks, and then obviously Brandon Briggs as well, taken out and retired early. But we'll get ready to bring up some of our friends here in the interviews. And obviously, Brandon, you're more than welcome to stick around and ask a question or two as we have some fun with you up here in the booth. A bit of a special edition for you tonight to be up here. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to ask some questions because this is definitely going to be a learning experience.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be tuned in to see how these guys got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, this is probably one of the most fun parts of this, and I'm kind of excited for one of these interviews in particular, but all of them for sure, as it's always fun to talk to some of these guys. And actually, I believe we're pulling up a 1-2-3 finish. No, sorry. 1-2-3 finish, I believe, for Roswell Motorsports. At least that was the chat that I brought them all up in from. So we'll talk to Kawabe Brooks first. And we'll bring the number 53 up into the broadcast booth here. Kawabe, that was a really crazy race that we saw here tonight. But obviously you and your brother kind of about halfway flipped your normal script from fuel save and conservative race mode to battling hard up here at the front of the pack. And we had a lot of fun watching you guys. So why don't you take us through what it took to get to that 3rd place finish here tonight?
Hey, Boomer, good question. I was, as usual, following suit with Gael, and we thought we could make it to the end on fuel barely. Then the yellow came out, and at that point, it was pretty obvious you'd have to race. So I was trying to make the inside sort of work, but the setup was pretty loose with the high track temperatures, so I was pedaling a lot, trying to not spin out, which I'm sure you guys saw a lot of spinning out in the booth. I saw some good vantage points as well. And then, yeah, that last restart went up high, and then I saw Nick has the capital letters. Like, I guess I'll push him instead of my brother.
That is funny. So, definitely had a little bit of an impact on the end of the race there. Obviously, Nick Wing able to grab that win there. Took it a little bit away from the brother there. And I know I gotta ask because we always mention the joke, but how obviously you being the favorite of the two Brooks brothers. I gotta know where that legend started and how it keeps getting perpetuated.
Yeah, it has a life of its own at this point. I think it started from Don Runkle when either I was in a race, I don't race that often, and he said like, "Oh, the favorite son's here," and it sort of spread from there. One of these paint jobs had favorite son over the door, and yeah, it's fun, and it's also true, obviously. Like, not just kidding, but sorry, we got a cat problem nearby me. Yeah, and yeah, it's just a fun game now. Hopefully, hopefully my dad unfortunately dropped out due to Starlink and rain. Hopefully he got to watch a good battle between his least favorite son and his most favorite son. And unfortunately, I got third, not second, but I'll get him next time.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of fun. Obviously, well, you know what? Why don't we make this a family affair? Let's actually bring Gael up into the booth as well, and obviously Gael, the lesser favorite son or the second favorite son, however you want to.
It's least.
Least. Okay. Yep. So the least favorite son. So we heard the story of Kawabe being the favorite son here. Obviously, we've seen that joke perpetuated, but with Kawabe in the room, I want to ask you, Gael, are you a little upset that he didn't push you to the win and push Nick to the win instead?
No, because that was kind of the game plan, was to help Nick or our dad, but unfortunately, first obviously the first wreck, and then unfortunately the weather decided to knock his internet out. So unfortunately that was it for our dad. And then so there's like, well, Nick's still in here, and so yeah, we want to try to get him the best finish we could. And honestly, it was tough. I mean, that track time, man, that was a challenge with that one thing. It was like 136 at one point. It was sketchy, and I'm sure you saw at the end, like everybody was starting to push harder, and it's like, oh, this is really a handful now. So, no, I was say, but however, I started seeing him try to creep on the inside of me towards the end. I was like, hey, no. So I started trying to squeeze him a little extra to not let him get that spot on me.
Gael and Kwabi, I got a quick question. When you guys were getting into the corners, how much did you really have to let off to really make your car really turn and not spin out? I know when I was racing, I didn't get the chance to figure out how soon you had to let off. So really, from spectators' view, how early were you letting off, getting in to make sure it didn't spin out on you?
Hey, I'll take it. I think it depends. If you were by yourself and you could run the whole width of the track, you really didn't have to lift a ton. Like, I'd crack half throttle and sort of arc it down in there, let it, like, you could feel it was a little bit loose, but just chase it down to the apex. But when you're side by side, especially on the bottom, I was lifting pretty early and just rolling back into it slowly, just because I saw people crashing all around me, got loose a couple times myself, and had a little bit of fear of the car.
Yeah, right there at the end, Nick, that when he spun, I seen no signs or heard no signs it was coming around. So I was really, wondering what it was like, in the car, and given that aspect and letting us know that, when you were on the bottom, it was a lot more and compared to on top. And we appreciate it because it was so difficult. We were trying to explain it, but really from more, you guys drove longer. So it was, the longer it went, like you said, you got the more of a hang of it. And so I was really, really wondering on that, because it looked very, very difficult. 1 inch of a second quicker on the throttle, and you were around, and you had no control.
Yeah, and I think what was happening on new tires, it was the worst. But then somewhere in the middle of the run, it would sometimes sneak back in. You get comfortable with it and didn't realize how close to the edge you were, and then you would find out.
Yeah, definitely threw us for a loop to see how loose it really ended up being there out on that track. And I mean, from the broadcast perspective, it was a little bit chaotic, but sometimes that's kind of fun to call. But want to flip it over to Guy. I'll get him a chance some more airtime. So obviously we don't hear him speak enough here on Green White Checkered TV. But
I need to talk. I need people to hear me.
Not again.
So I mean, obviously, you know, you and your brother, we talked about it. You guys kind of flipped the script about halfway and really started to push up towards the front and you know, went from that back of the pack kind of fuel save mode. That's kind of your typical MO, and we saw you kind of flip that script. And you know, was it kind of more fun to play from this strategy, to be on that other side of it, or was it, you know, some more of a, you know, little bit of a different kind of play? Because I know, like I said, you know, typically that MO is back of the pack and fuel save, but was it I guess, what was it like from your perspective to kind of try and to go for it up at the front there?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I almost probably wish I'd been pushing a little harder earlier, just because of how much more difficult it was being aggressive at that point. Because you're right, yeah, the first half we were really, really saving. The one caution that came out right before, or the one before the late one, it was again right on the edge of fuel. So it's like, okay, we got to still hit a fuel number, and so we were just kind of just trying to pace ourselves just enough. And then yeah, and then just at the end, it's like, okay, time to really start to get aggressive. And yeah, it was really tough to balance trying to stay tight to Nick to help him out, but then also to not mess up. I had one moment where I kind of caught that out. I think I caught the edge of turn two, I want to say, on exit. And big thank you to Bud. He was quick on reacting there to not get into me, let me kind of be able to recover. And then yeah, it was definitely challenging. Yeah, the longer the run went, there you could definitely feel the tires were trying to give up more and more. And it was fun, but it was very challenging. The fuel saving at the beginning definitely didn't help kind of get my feet wet, if you will, for being ready.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I mean, it was fun to watch, and it was cool to see you guys battle up there. And obviously, I know we had a few people missing from the field tonight, but one of them being Rick Sanchez, and obviously he has his back injury. But I know, Gael, you've actually got a little bit of a shoulder injury yourself. So I just want to check in on you, bud, and make sure how's that feeling right after tonight's race.
It's yeah, it still feels pretty good. I say I can't do anything too crazy with it, but knock on wood, I think everything's still going the right way. And I say, yeah, between me, you, and Rick, I say we're gonna have to start our own little recovery ward or something, because we're getting old.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Uh, yeah, it's not fun getting old. I mean, I'm not that old, but it's still not fun. So, but well, obviously got an opportunity to roll out that red carpet. Now we'll give it back to Kawabi, the favorite son first. Any thanks or shoutouts that you'd like to give for that third place finish there tonight, Kawabi?
Yeah, I'll give a thanks to least favorite son and the most favorite father. And thanks for the broadcast. It was fun, and yeah, I need to do this more often. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely need to get you back out here more often, and appreciate you coming out here, and obviously a very hard-earned third place. And I'll hand it over to the least favorite son now. I know you're used to these, so I'll give it to you, Guy. I'll go for it.
Yeah, the higher finishing son, I might add. Um, but
I
no,
love this.
yeah, I mean, big thank you obviously to you, Boomer and Brandon. Love having you on here. As I look forward to checking that out. Obviously, I hated that you weren't able to stick it out on track, but fun to get some new blood in the booth. So I hope you enjoyed it, and say maybe we can work with you some more going forward. So yeah, and then obviously saw the guys that were out here tonight. It was a little of a shorter field, and obviously we lost a handful with just the attrition of the race, and then unfortunately some connectivity issues hit our dad, hit Eric Laurie, which was a shame too, because Eric was right in that championship hunt too. So I was kind of bummed about that, but yeah, I'm looking forward. Honestly, yeah, I'm looking forward to the championship next week, because I mean it's literally 1 point difference. Spoiler alert if you didn't already do it.
We didn't. Thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, so I'm really excited to see how that one's going to shake out. It should be a lot of fun, and yeah, I've had a lot of fun this season. It's been fun getting behind the wheel, and they said we'll have to figure out the formal plans for the upcoming seasons. But yeah, just big thank you guys, though. I say again, just the time and effort, it means a ton.
Yeah, I know Brandon mentioned that, I believe your exact words, Brandon, were this is more fun than racing. So who knows? Maybe have to get Brandon up here in the booth more often. But congratulations to you, Kawabi and Gael, and hope to talk to you guys again. I know I'll talk to you both very soon, but congratulations again on that both podium placings for you.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Thanks, Brandon.
Alrighty, we'll move them out of here. We've heard enough of those Brooks brothers, but always fun. I love their dynamic. It is so much fun, and it's great to get a chance to interview them both. But we do have one more interview left. We left them waiting for a little bit, and we apologize for that extended wait period for the 28 of Nick Wing. As we had some fun with both Brooks brothers, but it was, I believe it was a Roswell Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 4 finish there at the end of that one. But Nick Wing coming out on top and in a very, very opportune way as you guys battle for this championship. But before I say anything else, Nick, I want to turn it over to you and tell us what it looked like from your vantage point behind the driver's seat.
The car was loose, and I knew it was stepping out because I was already loose that one time. And once I got loose in front of Seth, I thought the race was over for me.
Yeah, we mentioned that it was almost like a double flip of the script where, we saw if you get loose there off of 4, bring out what ended up being the final caution, and then the 55 of Dean Wilkinson on the restart gets loose into 1 on the final lap, and with a little bit of help from the 53, you were able to get to the lead and get back to the win, and it looked like it was going to be, it was going to be a big deficit going into the final race, and after looking like it was going to be a great opportunity for you and in the closing stages of that one, but again, that double flip of the script, it's got to be a huge swing of emotions from lap 2 to go to the restart to the checkered flag there.
Yeah, my arms were already tense from leading the 30 plus laps on that high line because I was thinking, oh, I'm going to end up wrecking eventually the way it's going. And, well, once I broke that steering of that car on that hit, I had to bounce it off the wall to even get it down pit road.
Yeah, Nick. Hey, I got a question. I went back when you were on that high side. I went back and I got in the in car and had the sound and everything up. When it broke loose on you, I didn't hear anything. I didn't notice anything. It just snapped. And was that how it felt like there to you, or did you know it was gonna happen? Or I just from the sound and driving these, there was no sign that it was gonna come around.
Well, it wasn't as bad once I was letting it flow through the corner more than full throttle went through the corner. But once Matt got under me, I was testing it out to see how long I could keep running that full throttle. And after a couple times of doing it, it started getting looser and looser. And well, when Seth was behind me, I wasn't gonna completely check up like I was with what's his name behind me. So I just didn't check up, and that's when it just snapped. And I was doing everything to keep it from going in the bottom lane, which where most people were heading anyways. And then Seth just, well, wrong place, wrong time, and everybody else.
Yeah, at these super speedways, there's almost sometimes no correct place to be. You just have to be lucky, because you don't ever know what they were going to do, and then you add these conditions into the track. And I was telling Boom, when on the first lap or second lap when I wrecked, I barely touched the brake and it just shot me to the wall. So when I knew as this race went on, when somebody spun, they had no control. So it's really just a hold your breath and hang on.
Well, in practice, I tested it out. When you break loose, it's probably best just to stay on a throttle and drive it off of being sideways or wherever it's going to go. Because if you try saving it, it's just going to make it worse. You're not going to save it.
Gotcha. Yeah, all righty. Well, yeah, that was the question I had. A good run there. I told Boom, he's gonna know his mistake. He knew what had happened before, and you didn't make it again, and that got you the win. So congratulations on the win, man. I'm really excited to be a part of that championship race next week and watch you and Dean go at it.
Yeah, just be glad we got the points tightened backed up to where it's going to be a battle now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a pretty close battle, and we'll share those points as Gael already teased earlier. But it's going to be 1 point. You actually take the lead heading into the final race of the season. So 1,102 points for Nicholas Wing and 1,101 point for Dean Wilkinson. Nick, what is going to be your strategy heading into that final race, knowing that you're coming in with the win, obviously, or the lead, I should say? Um, it's only 1 point. Obviously, you've got 2 wins in the season. You've got one more top five and the same amount of top tens as Dean, and you guys have had both had a fairly consistent season all along. I know Dean's been very able to really consistently finish and be there at the end, especially in these playoff races. But what's kind of your mindset going into that final race, and what are your kind of keys and strategies and things that you're going to be really, really focused on as we try to crown a champion next week?
At this point, it's just finish ahead of Dean and hope for the best.
When at a track like Daytona that we go to, is there really a mindset? I've never been in this position before where you really have to actually make a complete decision going at this, because we know it's so hard to pass there. It's a lot thinner than Talladega. And so how do you approach that? Is your mindset is it more to run in the back and be safe, or is it better in a situation like this to be aggressive?
A mix of both, because if you don't have a fast repair at the end and there's a wreck, I mean, you ain't going to make it to the end. It's just going to be making it to the end if you're running for the championship and then get the best position you can.
Well, we'll see who is able to do that next week, Nick, and wish you all the best. And hope to talk to you again real soon. And good luck trying to battle for that championship. But before we let you go, we always got to give you that opportunity to roll out that red carpet for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give for that second win on the season.
I'd like to thank you guys and all the sponsors, and I'd like to thank my teammates, because without them, those 2 wins wouldn't mean anything.
Good deal. Well, congratulations again, Nick, and we will hope to talk to you again very soon.
Yep.
Alrighty, Brandon. So that was definitely a fun race. Obviously, appreciate you hopping up in here to commentate with us. So lend your voice to the broadcast booth. That was definitely a treat for us, and appreciate you hopping along. And before we get out of here, we do want to show you now that playoff champion, or the championship playoff points, whatever you want to call it. But words are hard. There is your point standings. We mentioned it. Nicholas Wing has 1,102 points to the 1,101 points for Dean Wilkinson. So obviously Nick grabbing that extra point over Dean to take the lead, and it's going to be pretty much whoever finishes ahead of the other, as there are no more bonus points, or I don't think there are any bonus points at all other than where you finish. Used to have a lot more bonus points with the pole, laps led, most laps, so on and so forth. But we'll try to have an update for that throughout the race. But it should be pretty simple as far as whoever finishes ahead, Nicholas Wing, or Dean Wilkinson. Should end up your champion. Obviously, Ambrose Kniebel came back. We saw him finish 6th, and he gained a point over Dean Wilkinson, but unfortunately lost a few points to Nicholas Wing there. He's going to be a few points too far back, I think, to compete for this championship, but obviously you never know. It's still only a 14-point difference there between him and Nick Wing, so we will have to wait and see how that plays out. But looking like a championship battle between the 28 and the 55 next week. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think what Ambrose was able to do to come back and get himself in a spot. A lot of people may see that 14 point as a long shot. We average some nights 20 to 25 guys. That's not that many positions. If there's an early couple wrecks, Ambrose is not out of it. He's not. So to battle back like he did, I think means a lot. He's still determined to be there at the end. It's still Daytona. Anything can happen. So I wouldn't count Ambrose out just yet. If he battled back tonight with these track conditions, I think he's still a guy to keep an eye on.
Definitely will be fun to see for sure. And again, Brandon, appreciate you hopping up in the booth with us tonight after having to retire early. It's been a lot of fun for us here. So we mentioned earlier, I think at the top of the show, we did just finish out the Tuesday night IndyCar series, but we were able to finish that season out there. Sunday night, we still have a couple more weeks to go as they crown a championship as well. So be sure to tune in next week to the Sunday series, and then obviously next week will be the final race here. I believe, I'll double check, I believe it should be at Talladega Super Speedway, and it will actually be at Daytona. So we'll be at Daytona a couple weeks later than scheduled, but obviously we had a couple weeks off there in the middle. Appreciate the patience for the league for that, as both Gael and I were unable to broadcast, and then obviously a couple issues with the build. So we're a little bit later than schedule, the original schedule, but we got that final race at Daytona coming up next week, where we will see what should be a great championship battle. Again, between Nick Wing and Dean Wilkinson. So do not miss that next race. You'll want to see who gets crowned a champion at Green White Checker on Green White Checker TV here at Area 51 on Thursday nights. So again, for Brandon Briggs stepping in and for myself, Boomer Logan, we appreciate you all. Hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.